2, 1. Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super speculation / theory video. And to help me here, I am once again joined by Kihokai 1994. Man, what is up?
Bum 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 bum. What's up, everybody?
Bum 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 bum.
I felt like that was appropriate for the topic that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, I mean, potentially. Anyway, so I guess you guys saw the title, you saw the thumbnail. We're going to be speculating on whether or not somehow, in some way, shape, or form, death might have consequences in Dragon Ball Super. Bum 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 bum.
For the first time ever. Bum 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 bum.
Basically jumping off of this is one of the things the Tournament of Power has done. We don't necessarily know how it's going to play out. We know that, you know, no one's getting eliminated to the extent where they're getting erased, in particular if they fall off the edge. Like
I'm still sad about that.
Yeah, those fake spoilers that came out so long ago, it seems like. But anyway, we know that's not actually how it's going to go down. But what we do realize from this, basically, is Tien and 17 have been reintroduced into the main fighting aspects of these shows. You know, these guys are back in full force. They're going to be fighting in this tournament. 17 probably more than Tien, but I guess it doesn't necessarily matter to this particular topic. Basically, going off of the fact that Dragon Ball Super is taking place within the 10-year time skip between the end of the Buu arc and how Dragon Ball Z actually ended, we looked at the tournament and everything they showed us in the last couple chapters and episodes of Dragon Ball Z, and considering the fact that GT is no longer canon, we realized that 17 isn't there and Tien aren't there. And could it mean, does that give them the freedom, if they want, to kill these people off and have them stay dead, to give us at least some emotional connections, and without having to kill off anybody who is actually at the end of Z, because they definitely can't do that. It's not going to fool anybody. So with that being said, Kihokai, what are your thoughts on this, man?
I will say, going back and rewatching part of the tournament, I got to see a sweet ponytail from Yamcha. But no. So going through the entire series from Ball, even through GT, ever since the first resurrection wish has been made on the Dragon Balls, death has not been a thing that worries people. Even with the terms of the Dragon Balls, we see them get around that and resurrect anybody they want as many times as they want. And this time, as with you, that's why I'm on this video, I agree that there is a good chance that they could try to kill off some people. It would add a little bit more depth to the story, and it would also explain why, even though they would have never thought of this 20 years ago, why certain people aren't in that last tournament scene. Now, not everybody needs to be fighting, but aren't they all friends? Shouldn't they all be hanging out? And even though Tien is a loner, doesn't he like having company? That's how I feel. I mean, I like having company, man. So, like, we have a good potential to have either him or 17 actually face ultimate peril in this tournament and no longer be seen, which would kind of go into that last part of Z, even though the 10-year time skip of peace hasn't really happened, since I bet you they're going to do like a 2-year time skip or something before the tournament and they show the end of Z for Super.
I mean, I just want to say, I understand that 17 is somewhat of a loner. He's probably going to be on his island or with his family. It doesn't make, you know, we're speculating here. Obviously, this probably, it might not happen, but it's a chance for them to make death matter, giving us kind of a reintroduction to these characters, make us feel something for them again, you know, give them something worth fighting for, like a dojo with a bunch of students that needs to be rebuilt, or a family, you know, with two kids and one of his own, I think, and something like that.
What's more tragic than losing everything?
Yeah, it's like it's somewhat of an interesting kind of dynamic if they were to die now. I mean, especially since looking at everyone who joined this particular tournament, and I'm not saying they're dying in the tournament, but everyone else who joined in this tournament didn't have that much exposition put on them. I realize that these two characters are usually away from the major things going on in this particular series, and they needed to be reintroduced, but those two characters did get basically entire episodes dedicated to them to show exactly what was going on in their life and how, why they're going into the tournament and what they fight for and all this other stuff. So losing them after all that build-up would make a little bit of sense, at least to me. Personally, with the idea that Tien Han dies, and obviously, like you said, he's just been this huge loner for most of the thing. I mean, they didn't see him after the Cell games until he basically just showed up to kick Majin Buu and then was just out of the game for the rest of the series, at least as far as I remember. Maybe gave Goku energy, but that's one thing, not necessarily another. And you could sit there and go, well, he's always been a loner, so he wouldn't show up to that tournament. Well, yeah, but he showed up to almost everything else in Super. I mean, he showed up to Bulma's birthday party. I mean, why wouldn't he show up to a tournament? The guy focuses on fighting. None of his students will ever be in the tournament to fight, even though I guess, it's
I mean, that's the whole point of being a teacher. I mean, the Crane School, the Kami School, they all wanted to go to the tournament and be the world's strongest. I mean, he may think he has no chance at winning, but at least he could have a student that could do well. And I mean, second place still has prize money. Third place still has prize money.
Yeah, so to me, it would make a lot of sense for him to join and for him to at least go there to see his pupils do something. And of course, we're going off of something they hadn't obviously thought about this when they were making Dragon Ball Z and the ending of that. So obviously, they could either retell it, they could reanimate it, they could do something else to basically tell the same story, but kind of include cameos that weren't necessarily there to begin with. So, or maybe they were there the entire time, and yada yada yada. Tien Han looking from a distance, 17 looking from a distance, Beerus and Whis and everyone else looking from a distance and smiling and all that stuff. They could definitely do that, but I think having a situation where you kill these people off would be really awesome. I was talking to MJ once, and he was saying, just in his general mark-out moment speculation situation is, it'd be really cool if they were to reanimate a couple episodes around the ending of Dragon Ball Z, so they don't necessarily change anything from Dragon Ball Z, but you just show the perspective of everyone else before that particular tournament. Beerus and Whis and Krillin and 18 and Marin, Goten and Trunks, Vegeta, and everything else like that, because the last couple episodes of Dragon Ball Z, especially the chapters as well, is nothing more than basically Goku wanting to fight because he wants to go fight Oob and everything. So we know what Goku's doing here, but it's an opportunity for them to kind of expand on this and show everyone else doing all this other stuff. And one of the things that MJ was saying after I kind of mentioned that 17 could die because we don't see him at the end of Dragon Ball Z, was saying that it would be cool if they go to his island and they've kind of given him an unmarked grave or even a marked grave where they thank him for whatever sacrifice they could potentially use to kill him off, and then go to the tournament all together. Would be really something, in my opinion, really worth waiting for, looking at, and everything else like that. I mean, I think that would be pretty cool.
No, that's a very special moment you would get to see, but I was kind of thinking about it on the other aspect of not 17, but Tien, and actually him having a dojo and having all of those disciples or pupils or students, whatever you'd like to call them, and after he has now passed, they want to continue training in his honor to enlighten themselves, blah, 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 and actually have his statue of him meditating, have that maybe in the dojo in front of them so that they can have their quote-unquote trainer in front of them at all times, their master at all times. Mm-hmm. That would be very interesting, and then that could also lead to somebody who maybe can exceed the human earthling power scale and actually give Ubo a run-up for his money at one of the other tournaments, possibly.
I mean, potentially, but I mean, honestly, just adding another person to a next generation thing, because we're all really hoping that if they end Super and if they kind of tell Goku's story, then they might have to do some kind of sequel to Super with Goku and Vegeta, or even handing it off to Trunks, Goten, Marin, Brawl, Oob, and whoever else is going to be the next person. I mean, maybe even Marin for the most part. So I think that would be really, really awesome, and also kind of just generally what this video is, this discussion between us is, it would be cool, at least to me, that there's at least some stakes where someone dies and they don't necessarily want to be brought back, or they can't be brought back for one reason or another, considering the fact maybe, I don't know, they get rid of all the Dragon Balls. I don't know. I don't think that would ever happen, but
Maybe some corruption in the Dragon Balls?
Yeah. But I think that would be really, really cool, honestly. And personally, it would just be nice to see Dragon Ball's death matter for once, even if it's not Goku or Vegeta or Gohan or Piccolo or anyone else. Like, even if it's someone who's not really consequential to the overall story, but someone we've known for a very long time and people do enjoy and like. I mean, people like 17, people like Tien Shinhan. Seeing them die would be a little bit devastating, at least for the majority of the fan base who does like that character.
No, yeah. I mean, it's just like with any show. When you kill off a character, you're going to have certain people react one way and certain people react another way. But I do also feel with both of these characters, since they're not seen later on, like in the story, that killing them off can be done in a good way that people won't be angry. And I feel like it could be a good send-off for them. And say they never make another Dragon Ball series, if they end it with death and the happy... I hate to say death and happiness in the same sentence, but they end with the death and the mourning of that character, but proceed to say, well, everybody else is going to get better and everything else is going to be okay. So maybe not in a vengeance of them, but there's not going to be a dilemma anymore. We can take care of this, and this is going to maybe... I mean, it's not... Tien's not 100% important to Goku, but maybe that's the little bit of thing that makes him set off to the next level. I mean, not exactly Tien, but just death of characters could be what makes all of our characters ascend to a higher level of power.
Mm-hmm. And usually that is what happens, honestly. Like, emotions do play a major part in transformations and fighting in all of Dragon Ball, and mostly shown in manga in general, really. But Dragon Ball has seen its fair share of death playing a major role in awesome fights. So, and it doesn't have to be anyone greatly important. I mean, Goku has history with Tien Shinhan, so it would work in a really, it would work. And also, like, basically you can also do, like, instead of Tien Shinhan running his dojo, maybe Chaozu runs his dojo for him, and Chaozu also gets like some kind of a happy ending with that statue you were talking about or something like that. I mean, this is just how I would really like to see all this play out without actually risking Goku or Vegeta or Gohan or anyone else like that, but do show the audience that you're okay with death and you're willing to let people die, even if they're not necessarily the epitome of what makes this show great.
And even though it's not really to this video, but if you kill off a character, there's a possibility to make their story even greater in side adventures.
Yes. And we might do that video later. But guys, with that being said, I think we're going to end this out right now. Please make sure to go check out Kihokai in the description section below. Just hit that link and go see everything that he has to offer. It's really awesome Dragon Ball content. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. I want to hear everyone's thoughts and opinions about whether or not Tien Shinhan and 17 should die. Who else could potentially die? Am I missing anyone? And with that being said, guys, we're going to catch you on the next video.
Catch you next time.
It's been real.